In California, our conflicts about water get a lot of headlines and a lot of attention, but there is remarkable collaboration happening across the state. And one great example is the Water Forum here in the American River watershed. And I'm here with Jessica Law, who leads the Water Forum. Talk to me about just how it came about, how it's working here.
So the Water Forum is a really unique organization. I actually don't know of any other organizations in the state that are quite like what we do. We've been around for 20 years and started out of a very serious conflict over water rights and diversions on the American River. At the time in the early 2000s, they worked for 7 years to negotiate a voluntary agreement over the American River that protected water supply, protected the American River, and then created projects like this Habitat Project.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's endured for the past 20 years. Right now, what we are doing is we're working on an update of the original agreement. We still have business, water, environmental, and public groups participating. The caucuses, as we call them, are stronger than ever. We have some members of the caucuses that were around for negotiating the original agreement, which is amazing. And then we also have a lot of new energy and interest that's come to the table that's really helping us drive this process forward.
This American River watershed, the Lower American River, which is actually protected as a wild and scenic river, is, to me, a real case study in how we can balance everything we need to do with our rivers, providing and restoring conditions for salmon and fish and wildlife, and providing remarkable recreation. We raft down here with our kids. I've learned to fly fish on the American River. It's a remarkable balance, and this is the kind of balance that we need to achieve. Obviously, utilizing our water supplies for communities and economy, but also maintaining them for environmental purposes as well. How is the Water Forum grappling with accelerating climate change?
So all of this is a really tricky balance. It's been a tricky balance, but when you start to think about climate change and the impacts that we're going to be seeing, not just here in this region, but across the state, it gets a lot trickier.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of information about what some likely outcomes would be with climate change. We know it's going to be hotter. We know it's going to be, we're going to have less snowfall. We're going to have more precipitation. The storage is going to change. So a lot of our calculations and the models that we use to operate the system now don't really work under climate change. We're having to develop new ways to think about the future and to think and predict what this river and the system is going to look like, and not just this system, but how it's going to impact the rest of the state. So we are working very carefully with the members of the Water Forum to look at the data and the information in great detail. And you said, these are not fast processes. They are absolutely not fast processes. But what happens when you have this kind of collaboration, you have all of these different interests coming to the table, you develop a common understanding of what the challenges are. And as you have those common challenges and that common understanding, you're able to work towards what you hope for outcomes, what your expected outcomes might be, and then some potential solutions to help mitigate the negative impacts that you don't want.
That's remarkable. I mean, it's this kind of collaboration, not easy, not fast, but ultimately that creates durable conditions that we want to see. Environment where the fish and wildlife can thrive, recreation where all local residents can use the river. This is really a remarkable example. So thank you for all your leadership and the collaboration you've helped to facilitate.
For sure.